Hey, what's up, guys? Beniculus here, coming to you from the tiny home. This next episode is very special to me. This girl, we were best friends for the better side of a year, and she taught me a lot of things. Her story is a very interesting one. She grew up in the foster care system and started learning yoga at a very early age, and she developed a passion for yoga, and now she's a 500-hour certified yoga teacher, and she's taught internationally over 6,000 hours. And she also has a bachelor's degree from Eckerd College for dance movement therapy. So she also is. We talk about this in the podcast, I believe, but she has now moved to Peru and has purchased a parcel of land in which she is going to build an eco village, do eco tours, and more importantly, build a sanctuary for people escaping namely younger individuals escaping the slave trade and the indentured servant lifestyle. Well, the thing is, in Peru, where she's at, there's a very cultured way of living, and kids that are cast out of their families really have nowhere to go. So she's providing these kids with a place to find sanctuary, essentially. And she honestly has a very big heart, and she's very passionate. So may I introduce you, Jungle Cat, or Catherine Pappas, or Rendavana Amani, as her yoga name is. Let's get the show started. Let's do this.
What's up, everyone? My name is Catherine Pappas. I go by a lot of different names. Cat like the animal, Rendavana Amani, Cat Attack. Oof, the names go on and on. The reason why I go with so many names is because I have a lot of different aspects about me. I'm a pretty complex person from the outside looking in, although to myself I think I'm pretty simple. My passions are singing, being a mother, and helping human trafficking survivors. The most important population that I deal with is children. I have always loved working with children from the time I was in high school to my whole life, really. And so every step of the way has led me to where I am now. I was a young dreamer of 9 years old, thinking that I was going to have an orphanage. Out of college, I went to Peru thinking that I would start my orphanage journey and create my own orphanage, but I got to know a lot of different pedophiles in Panama who taught me a lot about how human trafficking goes on globally. And then I went over to Peru, where I learned how orphanages and religious monks and female monks play a huge role in human trafficking of children from the Amazonian jungle. I came back to Florida, where I was working with human trafficking survivors, and I created the children's program for the Florida Dream Center.
Perfect. Alright. Just trying to get it adjusted here.
These people are gonna be so like, you always make fun of me about my videos, but then you're over here just making it all fidgety while I'm talking about my bio.
Alright, cool. So obviously you have a deep burning inspiration for, human trafficking and stuff. So I have a couple questions I wrote down too, so let me pull those up. You like human trafficking,
No, I don't like human trafficking.
Alright.
I help the survivors,
right, so
who have been affected by human trafficking. So a lot of our survivors can start as young as 1 year old. They're usually human trafficked by people in their family. And it's really sad because human trafficking, these people have to deal with being raped by 10 different guys per day. That's not times that they're raped, but per person. And it's really sad because a lot of our children become desensitized because the pedophiles will make them act as animals. So it's really important within my work to get children connected back to that inner child. So we do a lot of fun play, interactive play, a lot of scaffolding, letting them kind of just take the reins, a lot of singing and dancing as dance movement therapist, as a yogi my whole entire life. Getting people to move is the most important thing because it takes the trauma out of the muscle memory.
Beautiful. I love it. All right. So, and you've worked with a lot of like groups of students here in Florida through the Florida Dream Center to basically help get rid of some of that trauma, correct?
Yeah, I have helped 11 children and several teens in the Florida Dream Center. And as previously mentioned, I was the founder of the children's program. It's a 10-phase process, and it's very similar to the program that I created in Peru.
Perfect. All right. And obviously, so I'm really glad we did this podcast because you're going to be moving back to Peru soon. So, what impeccable timing. And so tell us a little bit about what you're planning to do in Peru.
Yeah, great question, and thank you for facilitating that. When I go back to Peru, I will be buying a piece of land. We're going to be starting off small, but I will be buying a small piece of land. I'm looking towards Ucayali because right now it has the most political power. And has a lot of indigenous. That's where I went with Atalaya, where I think it would be very hard to get ecotourism down there, so I will probably find a place a little bit closer so that people can come and visit. However, this will be a mix of a socio-political project that helps the rights of the indigenous and protects people from being trafficked, and then also facilitate services after they're trafficked. However, there is a component for ecotourism of bringing people down and almost setting it up like a timeshare. So the idea is people will come regularly down to the project in Peru, and part of the money goes for a specific family or child who has been affected by human trafficking, and it'll be an opportunity to truly learn the culture, the language, the plant medicine, and so much more from an indigenous person. But then as extranjeras, as people from outside, it's really important that we bring them a little bit of resources so that way they are not depleting the Amazon for our export.
Cool. You can just talk to me, by the way. You don't have to talk to the camera, but...
But if I look this way, I only have half of my face showing.
True. However you want, I guess.
The last time we were doing camera stuff, you were saying that I show my face to the camera. No one's going to want to see my profile.
True, fair enough. Alright, so, so you're gonna do the timeshare thing. So, tell us, like, what the time, like, how, if people want to get involved and like invest in your project, how would that work?
Yeah, so you know when you see the like sad commercials where it's like in the arms of an angel, and there's like the sad puppies or the children in Africa who are dying of starvation, and they say send a few dollars every month to this need. Well, the idea of this timeshare is to build a relationship between an indigenous person or family, or and someone who has been affected by human trafficking, and a person of outside. And so it will be a monthly cost or a yearly cost, similar to like a timeshare, and part of those portions will go directly to the family that you are essentially sponsoring. And when you're not there, they will be going through my curriculum, the Kinetic Connection curriculum, and they'll be able to do some work trade kind of thing that's very big in Peru, to kind of be able to have that opportunity. And then when you come, you'll have a certain amount of weeks per what you pay and per what you want. And then there's lots of opportunities to help with permaculture down there, eco sustainability, hopefully preserving the waters, and getting an opportunity to go through the indigenous villages themselves.
Okay, awesome. So basically, you're going to set it up so that basically you can sponsor a child, indigenous child, or teenager, whatever it may be, or family, so that they have better opportunities, and they can facilitate being able to sustain their life better and not be exposed to, human trafficking and things like that.
Kind of. One of the reasons why human trafficking is so big in the Amazon is due to big corporations coming in and sending out bandits and making these indigenous villages leave the land that is rightfully theirs, because it's almost like a civil war. And so when these tribes are moved, they have nowhere else except, usually they have to, it's very hard for them to then find where to live after that. So it's kind of a liaison facility that I'll be doing, where our foundation is based in education, therapy, and leadership. So one of the biggest components of an indigenous tribe is their idea of the woman's circle. And so utilizing the woman's circle talents, we will export like their artisanal,
Artisanal? I don't know.
yeah, artisanal jewelry, and export a few things like cacao. But what I want to teach there is for them to take simple ideas like that and go back to their villages and then make it better. They have so many talents and they're so incredibly intelligent that I just want to kind of plant seeds of ideas in their minds for them to take back to their indigenous villages, because then it will have a huge political effect and a global effect, because it will preserve the Amazons. So, yeah.
Interesting. So you're just trying to basically build a structure so that people can benefit themselves. Okay. So I'm just curious, when you get land, so you're kind of like planning to go like halfway into the jungle or kind of out in the city, like kind of accessible to city so people can like come and see things, like what, like if people wanted to come out to your land or whatever it may, sanctuary, what would they expect?
They'll expect a lot of fun things. My ultimate goal is to get a piece of land where the trees are tall and dense enough so that way I could build some tree houses. However, economically wise, I don't think that's the first step that I'll be at. However, ideally I would like to have canopy walking trails through the trees, and then having hippotherapy, so horses, to do some adventure through the jungle, but then also have those horses facilitate things like hippotherapy for people who are within the curriculum, and also just to have around for like their compost and everything like that.
Okay.
And then also there'll be different, it's all about the ecosystem,
right,
and how we have to support one another even if it's an unseen cause. And so when they will come, they'll have a lot of things, like we'll be going to rivers and waterfalls, doing a lot of nature-based things. I can't honestly tell you how rural and how accessible it is. A lot of the times you could go into the absolute depths of the jungle and it's usually a mixture of car, bus, boat, walking.
Right.
To the absolute depths, however, since I want to bring other people, there are places where you can get to by like privatized planes, which can be expensive, or the public buses. The 3 locations that are in my top right now is near Kulap, which are some ancient ruins similar to Machu Picchu. However, they're much less known. But that's up near Colombia. That's a little higher jungle, so I really want to do cacao. So I don't really know how accessible that place will be. And then the other one is, I'm going to butcher this name, but it's like Odisti. I think it's Amiran. And it is one of the biggest waterfalls in Peru. So I would really like some land around there. That would be a really cool tourism thing.
So basically just keep an open mind if you plan on coming out to visit. Nothing's set in stone at this time. So let's talk about like safety, because you were saying like a lot of people were like trying to kick people out of the Amazon. So I'm curious, how do you plan on staying safe, and like if people want to come visit, how do you plan on keeping them safe?
I lived down there for 4 years with my dog, and I always felt very safe. The police are very good for telling you, hey, don't go over there. There's a lot of mining, there's a lot of prostitution, there's a lot of trafficking over there. So it's really good to actually trust a police officer when someone comes and talks to you, to kind of get to know the area a little bit better. Everyone kind of walks around with machetes there. I never felt unsafe. And I went into the absolute depths of the Amazon. In the cities like Lima and Cusco, where there are the bigger tourist attractions, that is where you can get theft. So a lot of the times it is better to have your backpacks on your front side, because they're pretty good at stealing. Actually, when I was in Lima one time, someone tried to steal my phone out of my pocket, and I felt it, and I went around and I just punched him right in the face.
Nice.
So, good to have a little bit of just like heightened awareness when you're in the cities. But yeah, once you get into the jungle, my facility will be set up with like doors that you can lock. I was in thatched houses, and a lot of time I got all my stuff stolen at one point. But that wasn't even when I was in a thatched house. That was when I was in a more rural location. So, a more urban location. So it's kind of just have faith in the people. And this is the most important thing when you are going through South America and you are visiting indigenous villages. The indigenous villages have a, unspoken law where if they offer you something, whether that be a plate of food, a drink, anything, if you do not accept it, they will not, if you do not accept what they have to offer you, you could be dying in the jungle and they won't help you, because they see it super disrespectful to deny something that someone gives to you. So that is the most important piece of advice that I could give to you.
So if someone gives you ayahuasca, you have to drink it. I'm kidding.
People have to understand that in Peru and in everywhere in the jungle, there are so many more riches than just ayahuasca. Stop going down to South America just to do ayahuasca. There's so many medicinal plants, and it starts from like up here, how we have dandelions, and no one eats them. Over there they have ala de murciélago, they have like horsetail, they have so many different herbs that are just the jungle floor, and people don't realize it. So stop exploiting the ayahuasca, stop exploiting the Palo Santo, because I was living with an indigenous village where their main goal was just to go around every single day, collect Palo Santo seeds and plant them, because everyone wants to buy Palo Santo and say they're so spiritual, but you're not spiritual if you are completely deteriorating all of the Amazonian jungle. So Stop being exploitive. Understand that medicine comes to you when it is supposed to come to you. And be careful. Do your research beforehand, because a lot of people can say, oh yeah, we'll do this for $180, and then next you know they're taking advantage of you. That happens a lot in Iquitos and Pucallpa. So it's better to go with people who have really good referrals online, or really indigenous people who you would never find online.
Yep. Or just get in touch with Kat. She'll set you up with the right people. But so, I like that. Yeah, definitely conscious consumption of the Amazonian fruits. I love it. So
Ayahuasca is 2 different plants,
right.
and it's not a fruit.
I know. I'm just talking about like the fruits of the.
If we are talking about fruits, though, that's something that everyone should come down to Peru for and see the jungle for. I was living on one plot of land, teaching kids English, and there was over 28 varieties of fruit. 28.
Just on one farm.
Yeah, and that's just one altitude. And when you travel in South America, especially Peru, you have to pack many different kinds of clothes. Or you just have to get used to wearing pants in the hot, humid jungle, because there's like chiggers down there and things like that. So it's just usually easier to wear pants. And it's also a lot more conservative, so you have to make sure when you're traveling, girls, to just be more mindful. Even something as simple as like wearing something across your chest that says something. They find it very inappropriate, because I was wearing something one time and they were like, I'm sorry to say this, but I really like your shirt. It's really cool, but I apologize, like kind of shining their eyes. So they are very conservative, and yeah.
I'm just gonna check this focus real quick, just because it looks
not focused. I saw that from the beginning.
Well, it's focused on you. It's just, let me see if I can. Alright. That should be good. I think that's good. Alright. There we go. Yeah, a lot better. Whew, man. Sorry about that, guys. So, tell us about the story when you were. So, obviously, it's probably easy to find work exchange over there. Well, it helps if you speak Spanish, but. Tell me about the time that you, what's your favorite, fruit that you had to farm, or not had to, but farmed, and, I don't know, just tell us a crazy story about, a work exchange or something.
I never really did any work exchange, because I'm not going to go to work away and pay to stay there to work, 6 hours a day, and then, not have any free time to go and see anything but that. If you're going to look at Workaway, there are many great options. It's really great for people who are just starting out, don't really have confidence in traveling. It is very good. Just make sure that you assess beforehand how much time you will actually have for yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like some people get the short end of the stick on Workaways. Just know
all the time. 4 hours, 6 hours a day where you have to be working, and then you don't get to see anything else. And it's every single day.
You should be getting paid something. I mean, that's ideal, is to get paid something.
Most people pay to stay down there,
which is ridiculous.
And to work. And that's ridiculous.
Yeah, know what you're signing up for sure.
A lot of the work is grueling, too. I love throwing around a machete now, but beforehand, it made my hands cramp and things, and when they say monte, or they say the jungle, that can be a little bit of weeds, or every single day you have to cut yourself through the jungle, because it grows that fast. But crazy story around fruit?
Well, I was just thinking about that time you told me you were cut up here, oh shit.
Woo! We went right on that one.
We're having a crazy thunderstorm right now, but no worries. It's the thunder is louder than we are on the bar. But now I was just thinking about that time where you cut your leg up on when you were farming pineapple?
If you were ever going to do a workaway for pineapple, don't do it. Pineapple. Let me talk to you about pineapple, okay? So right now, the entire Amazonian jungle is being depleted because of ginger and pineapple. And the U.S. is the number one for pineapple exports, Spain being second. And it's beautiful. It's ridiculous. It's beautifully ridiculous. You go into these beautiful valleys where you just see all this nature, and your bus is weaving and winding through tunnels next to a river. And, you know, you feel like you're just an avatar because you feel like everything is just clouds in the sky and just like hidden pieces of earth just floating through the clouds. And then you come to this village oftentimes, and once you leave that village and start going out into the outskirts, it is depleting mountains after mountains after mountains of pineapple. And when pineapple is growing, it is like thin, tiny walkways, and the pineapples are huge, and they have very large spikes on all of them. And so as you're cosechando, which means like harvesting the pineapple, you have to wear like tight pants or like 3 levels of pants because it goes through everything. And so my legs got scratched up. I was wearing Vibrams, so my feet got scratched up, my hands got scratched up. It was just not great.
What compelled you to want to work on a pineapple farm?
Oh, I didn't want to. I was just in an indigenous village, and then they have something called faenas, which means everyone in the town stops what they're doing and they go and work as a group to do whatever the mission is. And so
Wow.
I was considered the godmother of a village, and because I was like a inaugurated member of their tribe, I was also included in the duties for faenas.
Yeah, it sounds like a big mission to tackle. All right, everybody, pineapples are right. Everyone stop what you're doing. We're going to knock this out.
It really is true, though. These plots of land that people are farming out there, you know, like the lowest is una cuadra, which is like downtown St. Pete, 1 block. And like that's a lot for one family where the jungle is growing back almost every single day, especially if it's the rainy season. It's a lot to handle, so it definitely needs people. That's why at these faenas you'll always have some mozato or like some type of chicha, which is like a fermented beverage, and so you get a little. It's fun.
Cool. All right. So. Maybe we'll come back to the jungle thing later. So, I was gonna ask you about your yoga, and basically, I know you do like online sessions. You teach online. You also have yoga going on at a place locally around here you'll probably be here another month. So, I don't know if you want to tell people about that or talk about anything yoga related.
Yeah. So, one of the cool parts about being a yoga teacher and having had taught internationally for so many years is that I can really do this anywhere. So if you are if you have a place, you know, and you are looking for yoga teachers to come and kind of, you know, bring in a group of people, I can definitely come and teach a yoga teacher training course. I also have online yoga teacher training courses going on right now. While COVID is going on, Yoga Alliance is accepting online courses, and then I also have like smaller sized courses as well for just CEUs. However, I do a lot of online coaching, and I'll be able to keep this up through Peru. Because I'll have access to Wi-Fi. And these online coaching, depending on what kind of package you get, includes yoga with me 3 times a week and a home practice, which changes each week, a weekly theme, daily affirmations, and a dietary plan based around Ayurveda and the Hippocrates formula. And I also tend to add some alternative therapies that I also know how to do, and just psychosomatic counseling or dance movement therapy, which I know how to do.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's very individualized for what each person's basic needs are. It all depends on where people are holding the muscle memory, how bad of a chronic pain they have. That's why the dietary portion is. It's really just to live the yogic path without having to be religiously affiliated to Hinduism.
Perfect.
And so then that way they can have mind, body, spirit all getting through these tough times.
All right. Sounds legit. I like it. What's your favorite style of yoga? As far as asanas go, I guess.
Yeah, as far as asanas, I really have been loving Iyengar. He's an amazing teacher. Well, he's dead now, but he's an amazing teacher because he had body dysmorphic problems, like actual physical deformities with his body as a young teen, and
Scoliosis, right? Or
yeah, and his whole yoga is about being a therapy for the body, and I think that that's truest to what it's meant for.
yeah.
So I really like that.
Yeah, he keeps it real and light on yoga and tells you the benefits of every pose, breaks it down really well, so.
What I like there is that he also does the shapes of yoga and has a lot of the modifications together, and has like mini sequences. Actually, in the back of his appendix C, I'm pretty sure, he has 60 weeks of sequencing.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good time for sure. I need to dive in a little more too as well, but so I was gonna ask you as well as far as spiritualism. Like, I know I always ask you this, but you have a really particular religion and spiritualism. Just let us know some of your thoughts on like how you are spiritually, where your head's at, and all that. Are you comfortable talking about that?
Yeah, for sure. I have kind of observed religion from many different perspectives. I grew up in a Greek Orthodox family, which is very, very strict. However, we weren't strict really in the religious side. But then in college, I took a lot of philosophy classes comparing Eastern and Western, just as a hobby. And then when I went to Peru, I saw a lot of different like Catholicisms and Christianisms and all the Bible thumpers. But the one that feels most aligned with who I am is a sector of Hinduism, which is called Vaishnavism, or Vaishnava. And I like this, and it feels the most aligned with just who I am as a person and to facilitate that connection with spirit, because it is a section of Hinduism that is all about activism. And as you've seen through my human trafficking, through protecting the Amazonian rainforest, through doing yoga, that I always have a mission. I'm a girl with a mission. I'm always trying to save the world. And so I really like Vaishnavism because all of its concentration is around Prema Bhakti, which means devotional service, devotional loving service. And everything I try to do in life always comes from the heart, knowing that this is my destined path, or my destiny. And so, yeah, that's like the main thing that I take away. I love Hinduism too, because Vaishnavism specifically, because it wants you to acknowledge your nutrition, your body's movements, your mental state. And I really like how there's so many different avatars of God, because that really helps me see that even though I have fucked up what feels like every single aspect of my life, most days, that I'm still part and parcel of God. I'm still part and parcel of something bigger in life, and that's what's most important. When this life gets really difficult, feels really lonely, and because of my history, my childhood history, abandonment is something that creeps easily into my life, and then a lot of the times it's what I choose to isolate myself because of the fear. And so just knowing that God is there to love me and cherish me, and I can be of service to him, is like something super beautiful, because it makes all that pain and sorrow go away. And I just love that it's a God that can stick up for something and for everyone, and is the protector of everyone, and that's really cool. I always feel like I need that protector energy, and I embody that protector energy a lot for the human trafficking survivors too. So it's very important to me to have my bigger picture be something as active and as protective as I am for the innocents.
Nice.
I mean, when I was down in Peru, I was with all the Bible thumpers, and I was reading the Bible every single morning at 4:00, and I do see too,
when you say Bible, you mean the Christian Bible?
Yeah, Santa Biblia.
Alright.
Yeah, I had 4 different copies of it, one in Ashaninka, one in Spanish, one in English.
Okay. What made you shift from that style of religion to polytheistic?
In all honesty, my parents tried to push monotheism on me, and it never stuck. My grandparents, yeah. You are editing this, right?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, are you? Okay. Alright, so, so, I never went towards monotheism. I grew up with my adoptive mom's grandparents a lot. They took care of me a lot because I was pretty out there. And so my grandfather, my papu, would tell me all about all of the gods in Greece. And it was just something that really stuck with me, seeing God in everything. So my first religion would almost be Grecian mythicism. And then when I went to Peru, in college and in Peru, when I was really living within the yogic temples, it just felt more like me, because those were all the people that I wanted to hang out with. And in Hinduism, they have this thing called sadhu sangha, which means hanging with like people. So if you're a devotee of death metal, to hang out with those people. If you're a devotee of, nature, you go hang out with those people. And so, yeah, just seeing them hand in hand, the polytheistic perspective, were just the people that I leaned more towards.
Yeah, I totally agree. And yeah, I mean, honestly, all religion pretty much boils down to unconditional love. So I don't see why people get so caught up on tunnel vision about what God, what God is the greatest or whatever. But anyways.
Well, one of the reasons why I like Vaishnavism too is because there's an actual part in the Srimad Bhagavatam that says if you do believe in Athena or Jesus, you're just gonna finish this physical body by going to whatever planet they live on.
With no thing in it.
Oh, so you could just have some regular water?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Here.
Do you have a particular cup you want to use?
You can use mine.
Say thank you.
Thank you.
Cool.
Oh, I didn't even get to say what I was going to say. So, what I was going to say is, what I like about Vaishnavism is that they say, Krishna says in the Srimad Bhagavatam, that people who pray to Jesus or to Athena or to Odin, they get to go to their planetary existence with him after they pass this body. So only those who believe in Krishna will go. But he says, like, they're all just different avatars of me. So if you pray to anyone, you'll end up connecting with the divine Holy Spirit in that form that you saw him in. And I like that, because that is the epitome of connecting, of just being accepting and loving unconditionally. That's what that means. So.
Right. All right, cool. And I don't know if we said this, but I do want to just shout out the fact that you have a bachelor's in movement therapy, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely very credentialed woman over here.
I
And
have lots of certificate and many other things. I just got formal education for dance movement therapy because, like I've said, with the ecotourism business and hoping to have a yoga retreat center and everything, that's part of it.
nice, yeah.
And it helps the human trafficking survivors. Honestly, I have found it didn't matter traveling around how much Spanish I knew or did not know, because as long as I, had a smile, dance or sung, really singing, and just like was moving my body, people accepted me.
True that. Cool. So, yeah, it goes without saying I feel like your experiences as a child helped shape you, who you are today.
Yeah, one of the biggest breakthroughs I've had since coming back from Peru is the embodiment of all of my pain and sorrow and trauma came from one solitary person, predominantly so. And so my biggest revelation coming back was I've tried to deny this person my life because I just I felt so above the pain. But I realized I still wasn't practicing full compassion and just self-love because I still ignored that person's effect on me. And that's really big, because when you are struggling, it's really important for us to practice self-love completely and not let those demons truly have a hold on us, because we deny whole parts of who we are.
Nice. I just want to say, this probably sounds amazing with the rain and the thunder. Like, you ain't gonna find this on anybody else's podcast. No, maybe.
Except for mine in the future, it'll be Amazonian sounds.
Uh-oh. Awesome.
Computer.
Let me just see what I wrote down for, like, notes. Oh, here's a good question. So, what's your stance on raising children? Oh gosh, we're opening up a whole...
Being a mother is something that I have always known I wanted to do. It is something I have always known I can do and will be very successful at. Being a mother is the best thing that's ever happened to me. Today was one of the hardest days I've had. Being a single mom his entire life is a lot, because it's 24/7, and I cannot stay in the U.S. because I choose to be a mother and live out that divine right as my feminine. Then I feel is purposeful to live in the U.S. So I say the U.S. does not understand what family means, even if you come from the best fucking family, does not understand what family means. Because it is something where it's like all of your neighbors, all of your aunts and uncles, your grandparents. Like, I lived in places where there were 4 generations living in the same house, and it was so beautiful. And the saying, it takes a tribe to raise a child, is 100% true. Here we say we raise children because we want them to reach a goal. But in Peru, they say we plant children so that they can grow. And I think that's the most important thing, is just having everyone that you love and that loves you, whether you accept that kind of love or not, to let them love your child the best way that they can. Because you just gotta let bygones be bygones. I do feel very strongly, though, about letting your child go. Okay, there are so many women and men even who don't want their child to get dirty, don't want their hands to, like, they just want them to be this prissy, perfect little image. And it's literally making children not have strong enough immune systems because they can't touch anything. They can't get dirty. You guys have washer machines. Let your children get dirty, because I promise you, I wash clothes by hand all the time in Peru, and the stains are a hell of a lot harder, but it is worth the effort.
Yup.
And just let your child explore. Too many people want to stop them from going up the slides and stop them from jumping across the bed, you know, and stuff like that. Let them be a kid. It's really hard to find safe space in the U.S. to have your children, so just love up on them and just let them explore. If they get hurt, you just teach them that you're there for them. You don't punish them for existing. And
Yeah. Take them out camping. Let them run around, you know? People don't realize, like, that's, if you live without any kind of nature in your life, I feel like it's not gonna work out for me personally.
It won't. They won't truly understand life. And
Yup. What do you feel about, COVID? No, I'm just kidding. Oh my gosh. Don't want to open that can of worms. But, okay, so you like Montessori style, right? Of
not just Montessori. What I really love is the Pedagogía 3000, which is a teaching style from South America. It is very beautiful. It has a whole philosophy about 7 petals and the 7 petals, the 7th one, is self-realization. So it's really, really cool and amazing. And they only have information in Spanish, but I'm actually loving their material, so I can help translate anything. And then I also love forest school education. Because they are all about risk development and scaffolding for a parent, which is, I couldn't say his last name, but the psychologist Vygotsky.
No, I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but yeah.
Yeah, so I really like those two, the forest school and Pedagogía 3000, because they're both nature-oriented, child-led, and about risk development, which I think is something that in this culture people protect their children too much from.
Yep. Are you planning on signing Everest up for forest school? I wish I did some forest school when I was a kid.
There isn't any set up in Peru. I will be creating a forest school.
What does that consist of?
They always have a fire pit because
Okay.
they say it's very important for children to know about fire pits. It's very important for them to know about knot tying and using knives.
It's like Boy Scouts, basically? Or?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Hunting, maybe? I don't know.
That's not within the curriculum. It's more like fairy houses and dig your trench.
Oh,
and,
okay. What about
build forts
farming
and
or no?
hideouts. No,
Oh,
it's
okay.
like forts and hideouts.
Oh, it's like fun.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Sounds fun. Shoot, I want to do some forest school now. Sign me up. I want to be a counselor, I guess. Or what do they call the...
A teacher?
Yeah, a
They
teacher.
do have the curriculums to be teachers.
Cool. Where's that? Is that here in the U.S.?
Online or out in Britannia.
Oh, okay. Britannia? You mean Britain?
Yeah.
Cool. All
I
right.
don't know what they go by the way.
Or just go out into the woods and have some fun for yourself and figure out how to do it.
You gotta turn the bar down a little bit. The rain's getting heavier, so all of the noise is making it go up to red.
Oh. You think I should close the windows, or is...
No, it sounds beautiful. I think they'll love it.
Alright, word. Alright, guys, so we got just stuck in the middle of a thunderstorm here. Tiny Home Live Special Edition. This is a treat for you guys. I hope you're enjoying it.
Is this on Facebook?
No, I'm gonna upload it to YouTube.
Okay. Can you do ats when you do it? Like the school
Yeah.
one, you didn't do like @cat.
Yeah, I'll put all your Instagram and Facebook tags up there. But yeah, I don't know. We're almost at an hour. We could talk about a couple more things. No big deal. What are your thoughts on being a vegetarian?
Yeah, so that started for me when I was in just about college. That was the first thing I was actually outwardly an activist about, but I hadn't really practiced. That was like so much of my life. But yeah, so in college I got Eggert College actually to eat, like have 60% of everything that goes through the kitchen come from a farm within 100 miles. I don't know if they still obtain that, but I know that I spent many a times in college just going to different people's farms and seeing if they held a certain level of like organicness for the school to use. When I was in Peru, I would see these 16-wheelers like taking cows and chickens and pigs from God knows where to Lima. And I would be in the desert coast, you know, like in my little holy finca temple, and I would just hear these pigs like squealing, and you don't know how far they've come from, probably like far, and they're in these hot cars with no water, no food, with 100 other ones. Like, we saved a cow before my times, but like the place saved a cow that was from a slaughter truck and everything. So I would hear all the time in Peru, like, my neighbors killing the chickens and, like, slaughtering the pigs, and hearing those animals scream and cry, like, makes me want to cry.
Yeah, it's sad. It really is.
In the U.S., people have such big yards, if you're not in the city, and I think people need to utilize it more. And people forget that our food is something before that, whether it's a fruit tree, a plant, like a whatever. It's all. Can you go turn the light on?
Yeah.
It's all. Yeah, it's all there, and it's coming from something. And the fact that it's animals, people forget what an animal looks like and forget how it talks. Like, people know our dogs are compassionate, but they don't live it with other animals.
Alright. And then we got Monty over here.
She's out of frame. But shout out to Monty. She went through.
Monty. Oh.
Poor thing.
Oh, she got her spot back.
No pun intended. Funny.
The adventure buddy here, Monty.
Yeah, she went through Panama where there were dog fighters, and so we had to literally run away from people and their crazy dogs. There was a Rottweiler one time that was bigger than my entire torso, who jumped up on me and trying to get her because she goes into her first heat in Panama. Panama was terrible. And so, like, I had to get her fixed because that's when I realized, you know, female dogs in heat, foreign country, on an island where these are fighting dogs. It was terrible.
Yeah, that sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, it was really bad. bad. But thankfully, she never got bit until Everest was born.
Woo! Thank God for that.
Yeah, I mean, she could have gotten so many times, but Mama Dog right here protected her.
Nice, nice.
She, though, protected me from an ocelot in the jungle who had a baby. She protected me from snakes all the time that I couldn't even see. Like, no one remembers, but I was blind in Peru. I did not have my glasses. I did not have my contacts, so I was literally blind living in Peru. So Monty was my eyes, Monty was my ears, Monty was my everything. And she's protected me from countless people, countless snakes, and God knows what else that I couldn't even see. Monkeys, anteaters. I mean, those aren't aggressive, but she still, like, chased them down. So they wouldn't get into our kitchen and stuff.
Word.
Why does monkeys eat ants?
No, anteaters.
Ev, Ev, do you want to be on the podcast?
No, it's okay.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Go listen to TV.
Alright, cool.
As a single mom, I don't usually let him watch TV. He has been more in the U.S. since COVID has happened, but that's when he first started watching TV.
Cool.
He was never a TV watcher prior to COVID.
Cool. Alright, yeah, we're almost at an hour. I mean, we can just wrap it up with that, unless you want to keep going.
Do you have anything else to think of?
Do you have anything you want to shout out? Like, I don't know. Anything?
One final message from Kat. Let's see. The thing that I can say, and what makes me so different from everyone else, is that I go and do it. And I do it by myself. I know people will always come and help me out along the way, and I just trust. I always trust in everyone. I know it's going to backfire on me more than half of the time, but I do it anyway, because that's the most important thing. If we don't do anything, then we can't create change. In Peru, people would literally have riots and close down exportation of vegetables because our voice matters. Do it. Do it. If you have a passion, do it. If you have anything that feels uncomfortable for you and you feel like you should be doing something else, do it. This life is so beautiful. It's so magical, and I know that science makes it seem like it shouldn't be there, but magic is what makes this entire world go round. And just jumping in and figuring it out is the most amazing thing, because you will not waste life by doing it. So just go and do it. And do it.
Alright, cool.
Just live your rawest self.
I love it. Alright, well, thank you so much for being on the podcast, and,
Thank you for having me.
yeah, for sure. Sanandame Entre Arboles, that's, underscores in between those, that's the Instagram.
Sanándome entre árboles.
That's the Instagram, and I'll post all the links on the,
Bend into Shape Yoga if you want yoga, online counseling, and stuff like that. You got me.
Alright, namaste everyone. Thanks for checking out the podcast, and we'll see you on the next episode. Woo! Cheers.